Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. Today, I'm going to give you a quick guide on how to take your MySQL data to the cloud, but not just any cloud. Oh, no. I'm going to take you to the MySQL database service that's in the Oracle cloud infrastructure. Okay. So, yep, today we're going to give you a quick 30-minute session on how to take MySQL, any MySQL instance, wherever you have it, on premise, in a different cloud, take it to MySQL database service. I'm Keith Holman. I work for, obviously, MySQL within Oracle. So, if you wanted to do have any questions, feel free to ask them whilst we're delivering the session, whilst we're, showing you what to do. But if you wanted to, even go further, have a word, talk about this or anything else around MySQL, basically, feel free, send me an email, or just ask. The team will be helping out behind the scenes, so answering questions and everything. So again, let us know what your doubts are if you have questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So let's get on. Safe harbor statement. This means that anything I may say can be a lie. Haha, no, I'm not. I'm just kidding. It basically means you can't put any of that in a contract. So if you do find yourself happy with MySQL, want to make a contract, you say, but Keith said something in the presentation. No, sorry, not this one. So as I say, we're going to be brief. There's lots of things to look at here, but I'm going to skim over a lot of them because I want to make sure you get the whole idea of taking data to the cloud. Have an introduction there about MySQL and everything. Also around the MySQL database service, what it is, how it can help you, and then the steps, the technical steps of taking MySQL to the cloud. And then the last bit is like coming soon. It's how do we want to do something more than just store data in MySQL. So data is moving to the cloud. You all know this. You can see on the screen. There's a consumer, enterprise, and public cloud. Movement there. Where's the data going from? Well, it's coming. More and more the people trusting the public clouds. There are more clouds available. So that means there's going to be data in the region near you soon, like the cinema. Enterprise is more or less stable there. And obviously, having the data at your on-premise location, obviously, there's a mirror image there of the public cloud. So the future of the database market is cloud. Okay, all data, it can be in cloud, it can be on premise. You do whatever you want. You can test things in cloud, so it doesn't have to be actual data, but it can just be, the database usage. It's not valid data. We can destroy those. We can use them. We can give them up and down however we want. So it's completely up to you. It's very hard to keep your data secure now, isn't it? I mean, we go to a cloud and we know MySQL is the database of choice within the cloud. But it's always MySQL community. There's things around security, things around, having to keep personal data, financial data, health data, trade secrets, even, regulated data, compliancy in there, or intellectual property, just pure, this is ours. And keeping it safe from everyone else, it's not an easy task. And then, that's where we come in. It's like the mixture of open source with an enterprise solution there. And, more and more now people are realizing open source is a good idea, but wouldn't it be good to have an enterprise solution behind that, and a qualified company like, for example, Oracle, that can give you the support, the professionalism, the maturity of that solution. Open source usage is increasing constantly, and it's at the same time, it's because it's open source, it's a kind of like a philosophy around that to say, okay, within this ecosystem we're always bringing out new things, and that's not just because I say it, because I'm in MySQL, blah blah blah, but that's the way it is. You guys want, the community wants new things, and let's put it in there. And in fact, the model around MySQL has changed slightly there. I'll be talking about that in a second. But open source, it's constantly been more and more, on the books of classic enterprise environments. So Oracle, the open source databases are mainstream. Okay, 70% new house and play applications are using open source, and 89% of organizations reporting, they are using already, open source solutions. Just so you know, MySQL is the #1 open source database here. This is a rankings page here, DB Engine, so please have a look at yourself. They gave MySQL a prize last year. Well, this year they gave it for last year, for all the improvements, for all the things moving forward, all the innovation that we're doing with MySQL. And that's basically, we're doing it for you, not for us, doing it for you. So, that was a prize. It's a good achievement. We're happy about that because obviously it's showing that we're doing things. MySQL is not just sitting there and waiting. We're doing new things there. It's MySQL is also the top database for developers, and this was like done on Stack Overflow and JetBrains as well. The comparison there of well, what's the most popular database you start out with, you start developing with. MySQL, there's a clear winner, and from within JetBrains is like of all the databases that people have been using, the one that comes out tops is MySQL. Then, so it's basically saying we're happy with starting off with MySQL. You may go to production different systems or whatever, but you know some MySQL, you're there. But did you know all of these companies use MySQL? They may use it, they may be customers of it, they may have a large deployments, they have small deployments. But a lot of these customers depend on MySQL and even MySQL forks. But the fact is, MySQL's there making their business work, making the social media work, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, e-commerce like Booking, Netflix, especially nowadays, they're all working remotely. Software as a service solutions, Apps Dynamics, HubSpot, Zendex. Finance, banks of America, Citi, Fidelity, Visa, Credit Agricole, as well as fintechs, Stripe, Square, WePay. All of these people, PayPal, all of these may ring a bell. Well, they're using MySQL. So talking about MySQL, what is the MySQL database service? Well, first of all, the MySQL is on 8.0, okay? So obviously that's the version we're using. But on premise, you've got all of this, okay? Yeah, you're used to this. So it's like saying, okay, we've got performance, I've got my query optimizations, parallel data import, performance schema, transparent sharding, you've got NDB, InnoDB cluster, doesn't matter. Reliability, the whole transactions, triggers, store procedures, with security, of course. Ease of use, MySQL Workbench, you've got JSON support, the clone plugin, MySQL shell to help you with your DevOps, JavaScript, whatever. The replica set and InnoDB cluster, okay, it's easy to set up a HA environment there and well documented. Secure, we're very secure. Not only with the stored procedures, advanced password management, TLS version 1.3, SHA 256. Roles are something new in MySQL 8 as well. So, we're coming up to speed there with different security things. Developer friendly as well. We've got MySQL 8 is relational and NoSQL. It's document store. So you've got those CRUD operations, creating your collections, putting documents in a MySQL instance. MySQL shell prototype in there if you want to. There's a CTE window functions, not widow functions, window functions. Okay, that's with SQL queries, lateral drive tables as well. Got lots of new things with GIS. Okay, so you're looking to do GIS with MySQL 8.0 is the version you want to do. Generated columns, they were new in 5.7, and that allows the whole document store to move and everything. But it gives us much richer MySQL there. But also developer friendly. How do you deploy MySQL? You're using containers or Docker or Kubernetes or Ansible, whatever you want. Throw a MySQL into a Docker and get it working. But you've got the community and the enterprise solutions in there as Docker images. Go get them. We're enterprise ready, of course. You monitor it with all the best practices that we've got, from a MySQL perspective, query analysis, tuning and everything. Advanced backup with the enterprise backup. Thread pool plugin, external authentication plugins, loads of security extensions, transparent data encryption, data masking, firewall, authentication there. Yeah. And obviously, last but not least at all, when we're talking enterprise, when everyone says, I want an enterprise solution, you always want support, but not just a reactive support, you've got a proactive, consultative support there. So please, have a look there. As I said, MySQL is not just a relational database anymore. You've got the X protocol, XDev API, which allows us to run that classic SQL on our standard relational tables. City, name, population area. You've got your foreign keys, primary keys, all your connectors, applications going as per usual. But then you've got, what is this? NoSQL, JSON collections. You've got your InnoDB storage engine, allowing you to create on your JSON data types a NoSQL collection. So that means that we're storing documents. How are we storing them? Within an internal table, as it were. But that internal table, or that table itself, can be a mix, can be a hybrid. So we're using SQL and NoSQL in the same schema, same instance, same old MySQL. All you've done is gone to version 8. If you want to know about our Enterprise Edition, just quickly, those are the 3 packs there. So I say packs, but it's not a pack. It's 1 edition, 3 components, 3 areas. My apologies there. So one thing is the advanced features, the MySQL binary gives us these plugins about the scalability, HA, security, encryption, data masking, firewall. So maybe you can't go there and say, okay, I'll stay with MySQL community, but I do want to have my enterprise monitoring. So you're going to say, well, what's that? Is that Oracle Enterprise Manager or Enterprise Monitor? Well, in fact, you get to use both. Enterprise Monitor is specific for MySQL, but within the Enterprise Edition, you always also get a plugin for the Enterprise Manager for MySQL. So you can have an operations overview of what you're doing there with MySQL. And obviously you get backup, hot backup, point-in-time recovery, full, incremental, encrypted, compressed, send it to cloud, send it to tape, to disk, whatever you want to do. That's the enterprise backup. And that comes with the workbench, the enterprise edition as well. Okay, that's you're writing your queries, creating your users, and stopping, starting environments, changing parameters, configuration, and migrating data from all of those other RDBMSs into MySQL. So, okay, so we've got the binaries there, we've got the tooling there. What about support? Well, yeah, it's Oracle support. It's 24/7, 365, unlimited. You've got your technical support with the MySQL dedicated team there. And at the same time, you can ask them things that aren't just a problem, aren't just issues. And they can kind of appreciate that. We're not always going there, I've got a problem, I've got a problem. What about if I set up HA within a DB cluster? Is there anything, I'm thinking of doing it this way and detail it out, send it to them through a ticket, and they'll go, yeah, but don't forget this, or don't forget the other, or have you looked at this documentation? Or maybe you want to look at performance or partitioning, or I don't know, or upgrade or downgrade, I don't know, do backups, just ask, let us know. And also included is, there are other certified products with Oracle that work with MySQL. So just a quick overview, there's lots of things around security. We don't have time to go in that today, but you've got lots of things there. MySQL microservices, yes. What do you want to do? Let us know. Community enterprise, clustering, NDB cluster, NODB, doc store, hybrid, you've got polyglot, your multi-model, doesn't matter. You've also got minimal installs. So if you want to install a MySQL, but make it keep it small, you don't want to keep on having maybe a gig software or 2 gig software is a bit too much, then you've got a small download. Look into that one. Okay, it's very easy to do. So at the end of the day, we're talking about cloud today, and you're going to always know, I don't think I have to tell you about cloud, but just so that you do know, the MySQL database service, it is a DB as a service, okay, within the Oracle Cloud, a platform as a service solution. And it's obviously 100% developed and managed by the MySQL team, by us. It's all enterprise edition. So don't worry about, do I have to have another subscription? No, it's all included. 100% compatible with your on-premises MySQL. Before I get all the questions coming up, and thanks for the people who are answering the questions behind the scenes there. But yes, that's MySQL, community and enterprise. So don't worry about that. 100% compatible with other Oracle technologies, whether that's in cloud or whatever. And it's obviously supported. Okay, that's support. Open the service request you want, you get that all included. Okay, so it's easy, it's secure, and it's enterprise ready. Easy, it's just a fully managed service. You just do click, click, click. You'll see this in a second. Instant provisioning and latest features. Around security, obviously OCI, it's a cloud solution. We have to have security, and that's for anything, not just MySQL database service. But obviously, we were very worried about that. And then the patching comes along. We always want you to be on the latest patches to be the most secure as we bring out these versions. So, that's very important there. And as I said, enterprise ready. It's on an enterprise edition, on-premises compatibility, as always, of course. And it's built on generation 2 cloud of OCI. So as for these of you who go into a little bit more detail here, as I said, it's fully managed. So automate time-consuming tasks there, take them off board, configuration, security, get rid of that. We do that for you. Instant provisioning, like I say, we can pre-create and adjust the configurations of the MySQLs we may want, the parameters, whatever, we can adjust those. Not all of them. Again, it is a managed service, so there's some things we're not going to let you do. Things that could endanger that availability of your environment, and obviously, the constant monitoring and everything. So, you can adjust a lot, almost all of the configuration of parameterization, should I say. So, you can do that, and then, use that as a template and just keep on generating your MySQL databases there. Fast, reliable, and secure cloud storage. You can choose the way you want to do that there, and it's fast. And networking, obviously, it's all in the cloud, so simple there. You've got the latest features. You're obviously going to have everything MySQL, and that means and includes the XDev API, the MySQL document store. So that's accessible from the shell, from wherever you are, from your application. Now, we're the only cloud that can do that. Okay, all the other clouds, that you may know and heard about wonderfully, they only cover the standard SQL API. Okay, that's not us. We do everything. So as a proper managed service is, you've got the database, but as well as you've all got the OS, the server, the storage, the data center. We obviously include all of that. So that's how it is. Again, we were talking about ease of use, but now we're talking about security. Obviously, we're all very concerned about security. So, all the data is encrypted by default at disk level. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's an enterprise edition, so, we can make use of the masking firewall and things like that. There'll obviously be improvements into this in the near future there. So that will be coming. Regulatory compliance, GDPR, PCI, the advanced security with the enterprise edition. And as I said, latest security updates. We don't want you to get left behind, so we always want you on the latest. It's enterprise ready, as we said. Highest reliability and security is 24/7, 365 from MySQL. The compatibility there is 100%, so you can replicate, take your data from one to the other, and don't worry about it. Just, it's just another MySQL. There is no lock-in, okay? No cloud fork lock-in. This is MySQL. So, if you do want to, after testing it, maybe you want to start your application in the cloud using a MySQL database service in the cloud, but then take it on premise. There's no problem. You can do that however you want. Okay. Again, integration with Oracle Data Integrator, or Audit Vault if you're using security, or Container Engine for Kubernetes. Obviously, the Generation 2 cloud infrastructure again. Kind of use cases, okay, cloud native, existing workloads, hybrid, mix there, or SaaS applications. Up to you, the choice is yours. Pricing, how much is it? Have a look. It's the MySQL database service. That's the price across the world. Doesn't matter what data center you're using. Check with all the others. Those percentages will vary. Why? Because depending on what data center or where the DC is, or the region you're locating your instance in, that will change and give you different prices. I think it's better. It's been easy to understand that with the MySQL database service there, it's going to be very predictable, very easy to understand, and therefore you don't have to worry about different teams working different parts of the world, delivering different solutions for different markets or industries. Okay, one price, very simple. Okay. And then that's obviously just the processing, and you've got the backup and storage. So we know that you've got lots of options, so we want to give you the best one there. MySQL, the best price. Now, again, this is just an example, but please go away and have a look at it yourself. Do the TCO. There's a cost estimator when you go to OCI, and you can test this one out and compare. Please compare. All right. I jumped ahead of myself. As you can see, this is an example. Choose a 1.0 CPU shape for the MySQL database service. That's the price. The storage of 50 gig. Okay, that's a 24/7 usage there, 31 days. And the monthly cost of $37 with backup storage there. So, you get your backup included there. If you want more, obviously you'll have to pay that, but that's storage. It's not the DBAS as MySQL database service. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. Okay, I've given you so far, the overview of what is the MySQL database service. What about taking data in there? Okay, well, I kind of thought of this one around by saying, okay, well, we got the new service come out, the MySQL database service. People are going to want to take their on-premise to the cloud. They're going to take part of it. They're going to want to take all of it. But obviously, whatever they do, whatever you do, you're going to want to keep it, downtime as minimum. We don't want the service to suffer. What options are there? Well, this is just one, okay? And so the object is taking my on-premise database server, want it in the cloud to serve the application and keep that service impact to a minimum. So what are we going to be doing? We have to export the data. There's no two ways about it. Make an export that's to a cloud storage that's close to the destination, which means in this case, OCI. So, okay, we're going to keep that one very present. Create the instance, then import the data. And once all that's done, redirect the application to the MySQL database service. Right, okay, but like we said, what about the impact to the service? Well, of course, the time, what's the time? So we want the outage to be less than the sum of the export and the import, because that's what's limiting us here. We can pre-create the instance, we can pre-configure, yeah, that's fine, but we're still going to have to stop, export, import, and up again. So it's that time there of those two components. So, depending on what part of each cloud solutions, the export could be, export the data locally, then upload that to cloud, and then, get that imported in. And then, once that's in, make sure it's okay, and away we go. And that's the time there. Well, we're going to be using MySQL Shell here. And Shell allows us to speed up the export, import, the dump process, the loading process there. There's some little tricks behind the scene. So what are we going to need? Well, it's all about preparation, okay? Get prepared. OCI count, we go on OCI command line interface, the configuration, but just for the permissions and security, so keeping things safe there. We're going to be using MySQL Shell, 8021 or higher, and have that on your on-premise environment, for example, on your PC, doesn't matter. We're going to be creating an object storage bucket, so where we're going to send our data. Create a MySQL database system, which then determines the endpoint into MDS, different ways of doing that. And then we're going to test connectivity from PC to the object storage, obviously, from the PC to the endpoint, and basically, to MDS, the MySQL database service. So let's go. So here we have it. This is our OCI command line interface, okay? So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, because you don't know what OCI is, the links are there, have a look, okay? That'll tell you all about how to get all this information. Obviously, as you can see from the blah, blah, blahs, I've altered the OCIDs, okay? The IDs of the OCI components here, but you're gonna need all of this, okay? So that means the user, when you create a user in your tenancy, the tenancy as well. In my region, I choose the region. My compartment, I choose my compartment. And you get the key file, which is located locally, which you download via the required keys and OCIDs, and we need the fingerprint as well. So all of that, have a look on that part there. It's very easy to do, okay? And just configure that session there, configure that file there, and we're ready. Get MySQL Shell, doesn't matter where you get it from. Get 8021 and install it. I use Linux versions here. So MySQL sh root at my local host or wherever the database is. I'm going to go into SQL mode, but it doesn't know. It's just an example of, so you can see we're going to write SQL. So we've got Shell, we've got the OCI config. Let's make a bucket. It sounds very good, doesn't it? Object storage bucket. So now we go to the console. You've logged in, obviously, because you've got all your OCIDs from the other parts and everything. And we go to the object storage, click on that, and you'll see, object storage, create a bucket, give it names, whatever. And you'll want to note down the name and the namespace, as you can see at the bottom of the page. Name and namespace, write it down, little post-it. Okay, let's create our MySQL database system. Choose the same compartment as before, choose a name, choose an availability domain. Because the availability domain is part of OCI, we also want to be extra careful, so we want to choose a fault domain. Now that's not always, depending on what you use in the OCI, it's not always a must. It is here. We want MySQL database service to be safe. So you've got availability domain and a fault domain. We choose an OCPU configuration that once we've started playing with MySQL database service, we can adjust and change config there. Data storage, select how much you want. Choose a maintenance window. If you don't choose one, we'll give you one. But select that there. Click on database information and just keep choosing. Choose a super user admin user and password. Choose the network, VCN, the subnet, all of this you've already got. Add a host name and the ports and click next. Choose backup info, okay, according to whatever you want to do in a DR solution or DR recovery, whatever. But yeah, always good to choose a backup. And then if you click on the name of the MDS, you'll see that once it's created and everything, it'll give you an endpoint. Okay, this is not a public IP. No, it's not. Why? For security reasons. All of the other clouds are having issues with all of the hacks into the MySQL, or hack attempts into MySQL environments from 3306 or similar. So we've avoided that one for you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. But the internal IP address in this case was 10.0.0.4. So okay, well, we've got 10.0.0.4 because we're going, you can do different ways of accessing MySQL database service. IPsec VPN solution, if you're in a professional environment, highly recommended. Use Fast Connect or even, a dedicated VPN there. But so for a professional solution, I'd highly recommend IPsec. But in this example, it's a non-production example. I'm going to use a simple SSH tunnel. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So you can see there, do the SSH, my key there, and port forward on is 22. OPC, I'm going to my secure public IP that I've either added to my security list, within MDS, and my local host name on this port 6606, which will be then forwarded to 10.0.0.4.3306. Okay, leave that tunnel open, and away we go. MySQL shell. Get my username that I added when I created the service. My port there 6603, and show databases, and there we have it. I'm in. Okay. If you're having problems, check your internal software, your internal network or whatever. But if you've got the tunnel open, you shouldn't have any problems. Okay, let's dump. Let's dump a schema. Now, MySQL shell, there you can see it's in JavaScript mode, /help util.dump schemas. Util is a category. It's like a part of the API that allows us to do different things. One's dump schemas, others dump instances. We can check for server upgrades. There's different things like that. So have a look at that one. Could be useful. Okay. But that's an example there of getting the help there of how to dump out there. So, okay, let's use util dump schemas. We're going to dump the test schema, okay? And that's what we're going to, there, the test there in the square brackets. If we did the dump instance, then we're still not going to be able to dump the internal schemas like MySQL and things like that. Then we add in test, which is the output URL target directory, not directorate. Watch the prefix of all the files created in the bucket. So that's basically kind of like, when we upload all this information into that bucket we created earlier, we can have test, 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 okay? Now, we want to check, before we run all of this, just, headlong, I want to make sure it's all okay. So do dry running shows true. Give me the progress. Threads. Now, this is the good part. We get to choose the threads. Now, what parallelization do we want to do when we're exporting the schemas or dumping the schemas in? So, default's 4, but we can adjust that. So I put 8 in mine. Very important, OCI MDS. This is to make sure that the data we're exporting is MDS ready. That's one of the tricks. OS bucket name. Remember we wrote down the name and the namespace? Well, here we have it. The OCI config file, which is what we did right at the very beginning, the first one. If we didn't specify that, it'll look for the specific path that's default. So you don't have to add that in if you don't want to. It'll read it automatically. And compatibility, sorry. So we can say strip definers or the different options there. But what we do need is having a primary key, okay, on our schema. So on our tables in our schema. So when we're dumping away there, we want to make sure that the chunks are being generated in parallel and everything. So it's going to make it. That's the one that's going to make it run faster. Once we've got the data, now we've done the dry run there of dumping the schema, but that's exporting. That's taking the data out, putting it into the bucket. But then we're going to want to run the load from the reading from the bucket and get it into MDS. So this is where we're using our tunnel now. And the same thing here, util load dump, was get the help there, get everything out of there. And the example here is, util load dump, test, we know what that is. It's a schema we're loading in. Dry run is false, okay, because this is one we've tested this already. We do want to see the progress. The threads are still 8. My OS bucket name and the namespace, remember that? That's where we're reading from. Cool, we got all of that. And the key here is wait dump timeout equals 180 seconds, 3 minutes. That means that whilst my dump schemas is loading into the bucket and the bucket's getting full, we're reading the bucket from the load dump, and we're going to wait up to 3 minutes if there's no change of files or anything like that before we continue, or before we kind of cut off there. So that means that whilst we're exporting, we're loading. All right. And this is an example here, so you can just see what happened there. The dry one was false this time, so you can see that database had unsupported encryption option committed out. Okay, fine, no problem there. And the progress, you can see that we're dumping here with chunks. Doesn't sound too good. You can see at the top here now, this is the load dump, and I did this before all the files, before the bucket had anything in there, and it complained, that's okay, no problem, there's no at.json file here, what do you want me to do? Then I started off the dump from the dump schemas, and then re-ran this, and of course, oh, no, you've got it here, that's what it says. So it comes back saying, fine, prefix is test, 8 threads, and away we go. At the same time, because I've got my browser open, refresh the bucket here, and you can see here, test, and all the information being added in there. And once they're finished, I've dumped the schema. That's okay, no problem there. Dumped that there, and at the same time, I've loaded the data into the MDS. So that came out at the same time as well. So it was pretty good. And again, the objective here is to minimize the service, the application downtime here. So, and if you like logs, have a look in your .mysql/mysql sh log, and you'll see what happened there from the MySQL shell perspective. That's it. That's the end of the day. So that's all you had to do. You've got taken some data from on-premise into MySQL database service, and you can now redirect your application to the MDS endpoint, and away you go. Now, just to quickly overview, coming soon, like I said, I promised it, so I'll have to deliver it. As analytics service, we're looking at doing more than just MySQL, and this is a service that's based around things around analytics, making sure that we don't have to do additional tasks like ETL. So what we want to do is make use of MySQL, but in a columnar, in an analytical fashion. Okay, what does that mean? Well, we've got a new service coming out soon that will allow you to assign the data within your InnoDB tables to in-memory analytic engine. Okay, that's basically rapid, and it's a new solution there, and that could be of some interest to you for those of you who don't want to keep on taking copies of data here, copies of data there's too much data. We'll just load the data that you want from your tables, those columns, those vectors into your memory, and they'll go to these rapid servers, the memory in that rapid server, and the queries will still be running on MySQL. All you have to do is a couple of alters at MySQL level, and take that away, and the queries will run hopefully much faster, to a point whereby you can get 500 times faster, not 5 times, 500 times. Of this ETL and parallelization there and everything. So it's that's a MySQL Analytics service that will be coming out. So if you want to know more about that, please let me know. Going back to the whole thing, migrating from on-premise to MySQL database service, there are some different things around the actual service, the MySQL database service there. So have a look at the webinars that come out there, or recordings, and also the blogs there if you want to see more. And that was that. Okay, so thank you very much. Time's limit. I hope I haven't run too much, but that's the way things go. Thank you, and speak to you soon.